Hello, everybody, and welcome back to D-Skull Gaming. Okay, before we start this episode, let me just let me just clear a couple of things here. Um, See, I haven't been able to upload any new videos, and it's not because of any technical difficulties or anything, but it's because I have some big things going on in my life right now. I think I mentioned this before in another video, but I am not from America. I'm not. In fact, I'm not even living in America right now. I'm from Venezuela, and right around a couple of at the beginning of this month, my dad told me that we'd be going to the U.S. Embassy and we'd finally get our visas so that we can finally start a life in America. And so I've been going through a lot of stuff, talking to friends, um, checking out all of my stuff from the university that I'm currently studying because right now my country's situation is so horrible that my parents don't even care if I don't graduate at all in here because obviously they're more concerned for my safety than for my career. I mean, because I could easily live in the U.S. you know but anyway, that's not what's important. The thing is that I haven't been able to upload or do anything video game related because of that, and obviously, and I haven't done anything with the channel because I've been so worked up about this. This news was both exciting and overwhelming at the same time. So okay, but that's enough of an intro. Let's get right back to the game that we know and love, Ambre. Okay, so yeah, last time we left off here with with our two characters, Ambre and Tristan, I think was his name, or Christian. Yeah, whatever. Let's go. In front of Ambre's overflowing enthusiasm, Tristan Mallory, okay, it was Tristan, couldn't help but smile faintly, almost pitifully. Yes, that's it indeed, he kept telling himself, as if to reassure himself. All I'm doing is keeping her around until she remembers who she is and what she's lost. Waiting for her to remember. Thus began their strange routine. Tristan Mallory woke up early in the next morning to go to work, but before leaving and rushing into the fog, he had to take a few minutes of appreciation to face the daily grind, a few brief minutes on the threshold of her door, gazing at the sleeping Ambre. Then he ran away through the streets covered by dead leaves, escaping far away, toward the mountains of paperwork, towards the baleful tower furnished by vast offices where his slaves, chained to their computers, toiled away for the lord of that place. Anyway, that was what the little girl thought his working day would look like. As for her, oh, look at her with her face right here. As for her, she woke up easily around 9 a.m., and her first reflex was to stretch and yawn in front of the cartoons with a bowl of cereal in hand. Oh, look at this. It's cute and anime. As for her, she woke up easily around 9. Oh crap. She followed her favorite heroine's adventures. All of them were beautiful and courageous. All of them were friends for life. Princesses with elegant superpowers covered with light effects and flower petals. Rich and loved, they lived in a perfect, enviable existence. Enviable. Especially the main character, who owned a bedroom very similar to Ambre's. It was colorful and filled with cute accessories. However, this room was only part of a bigger palace furnished the same way. How I would like to live in a castle as well. With her cute friends, the heroine hunted the villains, fell into traps, and called for help of her charming prince, an ideal and fantasied man, who served her hand and foot. Life seemed easy, full of laughs and adventures. All that was needed was to send back the nasty woman to her hiding place in the darkness. After all, she was nasty because she envied the young, dazzling girls, nasty because she was old and disillusioned. Ambre would have loved to have magical powers allowing her to make cute outfits appear, allowing her to have a stable where unicorns slept, allowing her to have a ballroom where she could organize extravagant parties based on beautiful dresses and cupcakes. It was always really disappointing for her to see the end of the episode. Of course, there were other programs, but the story with magical Yules was her favorite. When the cartoons ended, she went to fill in her coloring books, daydreaming about being among those heroines. And then, at midday, she heated up the leftovers that Tristan had left and went back watching TV. New programs awaited her. Again, she had her favorite, the one where a little girl owned a puppy that was different. Again, she had her favorite, the one where a little girl owned a puppy that was different from the others. A red puppy who could sneak around. What? Isn't that Clifford? It was so very adorable, with its big eyes and its comical expression, that it made her melt. How I would like to have a dog that cute. The meal passed quickly to the rhythm of the opening songs that she knew by heart. This was usually the time when Tristan called to make sure everything was okay. She never missed this opportunity to tell him the content of the episode of the day, how the heroine had defeated the evil witch with her magic mirror, how the little dog had helped her mistress at school, and so on. Relieved, he would start eating his sandwiches without appetite, sated more by the little girl's words than by his meal. She hung satisfied with the story. Then, after the last cartoon turned off the television to rest in her big bed, surrounded by her stuffed toys. Usually at this time, she read a fairy tale. She loved to tell herself the story of Cinderella again and again, while sucking her teddy bear's ear. It was her favorite. People and life itself were nasty with Cinderella every day. She had to work hard. It was exhausting. She had to earn her every meal, and the nasty, ugly sisters believed themselves superior. Fortunately, the prince recognized the heroine's natural talent. She was pretty, and she was special. He brought her with him to his castle to live a golden existence, where she wouldn't have to work her fingers to the bone, where the money flowed freely, where Cinderella could have everything she wanted, including all the things that shone: accessories, dresses, cakes. All she had to do to fill time was to organize parties with her friends. The ugly sisters were not invited. They were too ugly, too rude, and they did not deserve such a paradise. Cinderella was happy. She loved in the manner only the real or true love. The kind of love with gilding and glitter. For what more could she ask? Ambre fell asleep, hoping to meet her charming prince one day. She dreamed of the one who would only have eyes for her and would give her a room like the one princesses that she admires so hot. Like Wait, what? Like the one the princesses that she admired so much had. Oh my god, I suck at reading. When she opened her eyes, the little girl rushed again to the living room to watch a tape, a Disney film. Depending on her mood, she chose one with animals or one with a couple who lived happily ever after. Often she watched Snow White or The Little Mermaid. Ambre loved the idea of a glass coffin containing a body which would not grow old despite death, but that would remain always young and beautiful, lying in wait for the magical kiss that would free her of her prison, changing the course of her story and spiriting her away from the common hut of proletarian dwarfs who, while friendly, were also rough. She loved it, just as she loved the idea of a beautiful, rebellious mermaid swimming through the oceans, looking for treasures but sacrificing her freedom for the man in her life, about whom she had fantasized 1,000 times. The beautiful and rebellious mermaid never listened to anyone, which reminded her of her own condition. She too was a sweet and capricious young woman. I suck at reading. She played these movies in a loop, day after day until snack time came. By then, tired of her idyllic images, she dug into the sweets that Tristan bought for her: cupcakes, colorful macaroons, pastries, bread, and Nutella. Of course, she ate in front of the television. There were cartoons at this time as well. As it was getting late, she finally pushed the off button to resume her fantasies elsewhere in her room, wielding her dolls with skill, perfectly depicting the course of her dreams. But the high point of each day was surely when Tristan finally returned from work. She knew he was there from the creaking of the door. She would rush into the living room, and, all joyous, she would throw herself at him, timidly at first, then with more enthusiasm over the weeks. Look at this face. She loved being carried on a shoulder, to mimic the airplane, and to fly through the flat until they crashed into bed laughing. Playing together was so much fun. With her friend, she could give life to her characters more easily. Her favorites? Playing Mommy and Daddy. Ambre took the role of the mother and always took good care of the well-being of her child. And a PVC doll with dead eyes suspended to embody an adorable little baby. Okay, so he's the mom. Oh no, wait, I read it wrong. He was the mom. Okay, she washed him, changed him, cuddled him, and gave him his bottle. Okay, because that would have been ironically funny, him being the mom. Tristan had the role of the father. He had read the newspaper in the kitchen while waiting for his wife to cook him a good meal, a role which hardly got him involved, but he was very well satisfied with that. Ambre took her task very seriously. She had the lead role, after all. Therefore, she served her imaginary husband plastic fries and fruits with a bossy pout. He appreciated the gesture. However, the real meal that left to Tristan's charge once the game ended. Wait, what? God damn it. A meal which the little girl took as an opportunity to tell the rest of her fabulous adventures. Tristan only had to listen to her with a smile on his face. Before he required her to go to the bathroom to wash up and brush her teeth. Ambre always grumbled at the bathroom time, but her sexless mermaid Barbie quickly helped her to forget her inconvenience. More than once, she slyly waited for the 30-year-old man to come close enough for her to shoot him with a fish-shaped water gun. Innocent laughter would ensue. Then he tucked her into her big princess bed while telling her a story, usually a fairy tale. In those moments, she blinked more and more slowly, looking up at him with a touching expression. It could make Tristan's melt from the cuteness. He was careful not to close the door all the way. The corridor lights had to hunt the monsters which could disturb Ambre's sleep. It was a specific request. She was fearful. The 30-year-old man had to protect her from the ghosts at the slightest shout. That was his promise to her. Before going to sleep, Tristan Mallory found some comfort in seeing her asleep. He hoped that her sleep would be inhabited by nice dreams and that she wouldn't forget him, that she would think about him in whatever way it may be. Could she even feel his presence, or how much he cared for her? Their schedule allowed the weekend to turn into a more festive time. It was the time for outings. It was out of the question for Ambre to be bored, that she stayed indoors again in the tight and bleak flat. She had to see some landscape. So, they went to lively places: the pool, the amusement park, the ice rink, the cinema, restaurants. She had to try everything. Every week was a different universe. Running along at a brisk pace with her impeccably polished shoes, the little girl jumped from ride to ride while hanging on Tristan's arm. It warmed his heart to see her having innocent fun. What the hell? Okay, I think I clicked on something. Okay. Run, innocent fun. In front of a smile that big, he could only imitate the little girl's mood, despite himself. Often, when she asked for a dessert, a pancake or an ice cream, he saw out of the corner of his eye that she had whipped cream on her face. The temptation to lick the dab of ice cream from the tip of her nose or the corner of her lips was nearly too much. Such a thing, both childish and unhealthy, tickled his darkest thoughts, most pitiful thoughts. However, hard he rejected them. His hand. Okay, this is. I'm not imagining anything. This is getting a little weird, right? However, hard he rejected them. His hands became sweaty and trembling, confessing his torment. But Ambre couldn't understand. Ambre was a little girl. Only a little girl. Okay, seriously, this is getting weird, right? I'm not imagining anything. The months flew by at breakneck speed. Tristan refused to admit it, but his young charge was growing. He wanted to ignore the fact, to close his eyes, but the unstoppable passage of time had already done its work. Ambre was going through a strange crisis. That evening, she was particularly angry and proclaimed vigorously, "I don't want to be a child anymore." "How so?" "I want to become older." "But you have plenty of time for this, Ambre." "But I want to grow faster. I could do more things." The 30-year-old man sighed. He obviously did not know how to answer such assertions. He never had a child, and he was not very good at placating others, regardless. Taken aback, he left the girl to pout in the living room while he went to take a long, relaxing shower. While he was soothing his worries in the rush of hot water, she was seething. "That's not fair. I wish I could be older right now. If only I had a model. I wonder what Tristan's wife looked like, for example. I'm sure that she was kind. But he never wants to talk about her. He avoids the subject. Maybe he's hiding something." Intrigued, Ambre took advantage of his accents to open a drawer that she had never touched before. Inside was a big leather notebook. She was sure she had found the treasure, so she took it and opened it. It was a photo album. Spread on the pages were bright smiles and tender gestures. Browsing the pictures, the little girl discovered her guardian, young and fresh, in the arms of a coquettish young lady. Dressed soberly and tastefully, she was strolling along the seashores with a shawl on her shoulders. Another picture showed her in a park holding ice cream. But what caught her eye was a more specific picture that towered in the center of the page. Tristan, wearing a suit, was leading his lover out of a church with clumsy footsteps under a shower of flower petals. He looked so happy, so fulfilled in her big and refined white dress that Ambre was stupefied. Even more so because the bride looked exactly like her. So pretty. "What are you looking at?" Tristan's sudden appearance made her jump so quickly that she dropped the forbidden object. The 30-year-old man's gaze darkened immediately. "You searched through the closet to see what my wife looked like, didn't you?" She answered in a shaky voice, guiltily. Yes. Are you going to scold me?" "Of course not. I just would have preferred that you didn't see it." "Why? Why don't you ever tell me about her? I want to know." He sighed, appearing upset, as he looked into the begging eyes that he had never been able to resist for so long. Reluctantly, he sat down on the couch and told her how he had met the one he thought to be his lifelong partner, and related all that they had gone through together. Ambre listened, wide-eyed attention. She liked the story very much. Tristan seemed to get younger as he evoked the past, describing how head over heels he had been and how happy she made him. Their peaceful and ordinary everyday life was something the little girl envied. Caught up in the tale, she couldn't help but pressure him. And then, what happened? Until the light shining in the man's green eyes brutally vanished. Then, she got away. Where to? Far away to a place I can't reach anymore. Every day I pray she'll somehow hear me, that she'll wake up and that she'll remember me. I don't know if she'll ever emerge from that dream that's keeping her captive. Is she dead? Sometimes it feels like it, but no, she's alive, just in a different world from mine. If I could have joined her, I would have sacrificed everything for her, and today she's forgotten me. Forever. Okay, so his wife's not dead. She left him. That's sad. Tristan sighed again, head down, as a heavy, crushing silence came between them. Ambre stared at the photo, bewitched by the woman's smiles. Deep down in her heart, she had an odd thought. If I was older, I could replace Tristan's wife, and he wouldn't be sad anymore. That night, she left the devastated Tristan lying as immobile as a statue on the sofa. Slipping between the covers of her cozy bedsheets, she felt helpless. If only I was older. The thought took root more violently in her mind to the point where it became an emergency. She had to become Tristan Mallory's wife. Okay, yeah, so this is really getting interesting here. All right, let's keep going. Even though I'm almost out of time, let's just keep going. A new routine seized little Ambre. It was out of the question for her to stay a little girl. She wanted to grow up as prematurely as a butterfly, its beauty cursed by its ephemeral life. Thus began a kind of adolescence. She no longer woke up in the morning when the 30-year-old went to work. She waited until midday to surface and took her meal at a time. Tristan did not call at his usual hour anymore. He knew that she would not be in a good mood. After a brief meal, the young girl watched television while leafing through magazines bought with her benefactor's pocket money. Her afternoon ranged between American TV shows and beauty tips. Between the pages of magazines, she learned how to seduce men, a leitmotif she liked a lot. Okay, this is going places. This is going places. She wanted Tristan to look at her from another angle, and in a different way. To be seen as a woman, she had to act as a woman, but she absolutely didn't know how to do this. These magazines, which were overflowing with tips of all kinds, appeared to be an El Dorado. Through the articles, she learned how to act and how to be a true lady. It wasn't very complicated. She only had to keep a close watch on her gestures, to control every moment perfectly so as to convey the best image possible. She tracked down all human weakness, every inconvenience, and walked with a relaxed air and self-assurance designed not to frighten or crush. Ambre shook her head while she was reading the magazine articles. Of course, she had to be open and smiling, but not so much that she came across as exuberant. She had to laugh often, but not too loudly, and never in a hysterical manner. She had to be independent while taking initiative, but only if the situation was favorable and, at the same time, non-threatening. She had to show herself to be as natural as possible while enhancing all of her advantages with makeup. Ambre understood the necessity of buying some in order to be a true woman, and finally, to dress in a manner feminine enough to enhance while being at the same time sober enough so as not to attract the unwanted attention. And then she learned how to listen to men, and that talking too much was a sign of egotism, that she should be discreet while also present and available for when she really needed it without being too obvious. As she turned page after page, the young girl felt a pressing urge to spend all her money on the products shown in the advertisement and praised by the journalists. After all, she would need them in order to seduce Tristan. How could she have the slightest chance without cheating a little? Furthermore, a revealing psychological test claimed that Ambre would gain more affection acting like a fragile little girl. Men needed to be reassured of their virility and of their protectors' roles. Also, she was herself too vulnerable and too frail. She couldn't manage anything worthy without help. She had to find validation in his eyes, validation in her very existence. If he thinks that I'm pretty, I'll be pretty like on that photograph. Like this, Ambre spent her afternoon reading tips, training herself, and concealing herself. Like this, Ambre spent her afternoon. Oh, crap. Why do I keep. Every time the background changes, I always go back to reading the first part. When she wasn't watching soap operas, she was shopping in the city to buy clothes, accessories, and cosmetics. Uh, okay, I don't know where. Did Tristan give her the money? I assume. The city, like the television, showed her visions of absolute and infinite love, of perfect and pure love. It was a drug, an obligation, a flawless pressure, and an order. Every billboard sold the same dream. Oh, so cliched. Oh, so desirable. It followed after the fairy tale formula. They all lived happily ever after with abundant wealth and many children. The heroines of romance in films all ran after the same goal, that of profit, ease, luxury, and sorry about the sneeze, guys. A life where everything was easy, but where everything had lost its taste. It was a dull life, and a hollow one. It was an eternal masquerade. But this existential emptiness was easy to fill. She had only to consume. Had only to consume and be consumed. One only needed to devote one's soul to removing every trace of nature to hide the grotesque natural body, the body that was too personal, too imperfect, too real to be replaced with a mirage. Oh. I could use the scroll on my mouse. One only needed to spend without restraint in order to conquer the piggy bank of one's dreams. That machine that gave banknotes and weak orgasms in order to make oneself into a diamond, a beautiful shiny trinket that everyone should have in one's living room, destroying one's own immaterial value, replacing it with the coin of the realm. And the one basked in idleness, turning around in one's cage without purpose to continue living with dignity, wandering like a lost soul, disguised as a clown, with too much red paint on the face. The result? A grim robot. One needs to fill the lack, the absence of life, the disease that devours one's blood, and all one's authenticity with money. Always more money. Buy, until one forgets discomfort and one's sense of ill-being. Ambre admired today's celebrities, those picture-perfect idols whose bodies exuded not even the slightest trace of life, whose uninspired songs only glorified a permanent state of pleasure without work. Like massively produced Barbie dolls, clones by the dozens, such celebrities merged into a single canon of unsurpassed beauty, deemed absolute truth. The stars dived into this endless cycle of vanity with such ease, it was truly fascinating. Every minute that had passed after a singer's first success was a minute of intense scrutiny, as the whole world glued his eyes on the morbid show that was her slow suffocation and imminent drowning. Nothing could bring more exquisite pleasure nor be a prettier sight than of young women slowly being engulfed by the shadowy tentacles of their dreams. This is getting dark. Okay, not way too dark, but it's going places. They sacrificed their bodies to the cut of plastic surgery scalpels, to the point where they no longer resembled themselves anymore, to the point where they transformed into some kind of wonderful monsters. Okay, I like this. Okay, let's just stop for a moment to appreciate this. Wonderful monsters. I mean, dude, whoever wrote this, you're good, you're good. They had rejected their personalities and histories to blend with the world, to conform themselves to the public's every expectation, to become the shop windows of modern times and the faces of a single form of happiness advertised at every street's corner. Happiness that our little Ambre longingly gazed upon. While becoming a star seemed out of her reach, looking like one was a duty that the tabloids never ceased to remind her of. That frivolous media was with little fuzz and so many consequences. When Tristan Mallory came home at the end of his working day, he would find Ambre already taking care of him by trying to cook delicious meals. The ever so elegant Ambre craved to always show her best, becoming the perfect little strong-willed housewife. He was past the point of missing the innocent days, but in all honesty, he didn't understand why the young lady was putting up so much effort into becoming such a perfect creature. One evening, while she was cooking a special dish for a recipe she'd learned on TV, the whole thing accompanied by a candlelit table, in order to celebrate his birthday, he dared to ask, "Say, Ambre, why are you doing so much for me?" The too honest question came like a hammer's blow. His complete incomprehension sounded like an insult. She probably spent hours gauzying up in the bathroom to look fresh at her best, and hours had gone into tidying the house, cleaning every nook and cranny until it was spotless. She probably spent hours decorating and hours tending to this god-forsaken roast, laboriously cutting vegetables, and here he was asking her why she was trying this hard? The knife in her hand fell violently to the floor, emitting a metallic sound that meant nothing good. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Ambre's voice trembled dangerously. Getting close, he noticed her frantically shaking hands. Eyes wide open, soaked in tears, she exploded. "Because I want you to love me. I want you to look at me. Why don't you ever look at me? I am not good enough. Is that it? I will never be as good as she was, will I?" But Ambre, what are you talking about? Dumbfounded, Tristan held her in his arms as tightly as he could. No, he definitely couldn't understand. He couldn't understand such intense and sudden sobs. Reassured by his gesture, Ambre wanted to explain herself. I'm sorry. I'll never be able to replace her." "Who are you trying to replace, Ambre? Tell me." "Your wife. I can see her departure left you very sad. I wanted to bring a smile back to your face. I wanted to take her place so you'd forget about her." For a split second, Tristan Mallory was breathless. It was surreal. He would have pitched himself to make sure he wasn't dreaming, but no. The pain in his chest was far too real, too pitifully carved in him. How could he answer such a declaration? How could he find the right words? Catching his breath with difficulty, the 30-year-old man took Ambre by the shoulders and looked in her eyes for a long time. After a sigh, he affirmed, "Listen, I will never be able to forget my wife, alright? It's impossible. But that doesn't mean I don't want you. It's the exact opposite, actually. You're very dear to me, Ambre. You hear me? I need you. You already have her place. So please stop crying. Don't make it harder than it is." The young girl shyly dried her tears, and her features changed to an adorably naive expression. She looked sincerely despaired. "You're okay with me? What made you think I'd abandon you, huh?" "Nothing, it's just that you seem to love her so much. I'm a bit jealous." "Why is that?" "I don't know. When I look at those pictures, I can't help but tell myself I must absolutely make you happy. I think I love you." Tristan felt all the courage and determination he had worked up melting, and he started sobbing as well. "But I love you too. It's always been like that. I love you so much it makes me sick." "For real? You're not treating me like a kid?" "Of course not." "Then..." Oh, this is going exactly where I thought it was going. "How should I?" "Show me you love me like a man." You... Oh, oh my god, I don't know if I should stop here or keep going. I don't know. A part of... Oh my god. Holy... Oh... Okay, you know what? Damn, okay. Okay, you know what? Alright, I don't know. I don't know if I should keep reading or end this episode here. You know what? I'm gonna end it here because this is just way too suspenseful. This is awesome. Oh my god. Oh, holy crap. Wow, December 16th. That was a while ago. Okay. Alright. Alright, guys. Oh my god, I can't believe this actually went exactly where I thought it was going. Holy... Oh, wow. Okay. Alright. I am finishing this. Don't worry, guys. I am totally finishing this. I definitely made the right choice. Okay. So anyway, I hope you guys have been enjoying my reading of this. I'm not a very good reader, but I don't read a lot. But whatever, I'm enjoying this. This is crazy. This is wow. This is fucked up. Well, if you, but okay, what was I gonna say? Okay, so obviously I'm gonna upload more videos. I'm gonna go back to playing Alice and Manhunt, but right now Ambre just just hit a high priority list right now. Holy crap. Okay, so anyways, this has been D-Skull Gaming, and I'll see you guys next time.